Going into second down. Okay, I'm going to try to go through these NFL games fairly quickly and give my thoughts on them. I don't want to spend too much time on them because we were already at 48 minutes. And we only did 2 segments. I mean, this is how much I'm loving football and the basketball, because basketball honestly took up 25 minutes. But let me start off with the Thursday night game. Houston at Kansas City. It looked like Houston was going to give Kansas City a game in the first quarter when they were up 7-0, and in the first quarter, Kansas City came back and steamrolled them the rest of the game. Kansas City ended up winning 34-20. I don't think Houston is as bad as people make it seem. They went against Kansas City, who's clearly the better team, and it was their season opener. So I think Kansas City did what they were supposed to do. Houston, I think, will still be a good team, a team that will compete, and will compete for a playoff spot, and will likely win the AFC South, but we'll see how, obviously it's going to be between them and the Titans, but I think Houston is still going to be a solid team, moving forward for the rest of the season. So next we'll talk about the New England Patriots versus the Miami Dolphins. Obviously I'm only talking about this one because it's Cam Newton's first start. He had a pretty solid game, two rushing touchdowns. So he ended up going 15 for 19, 155 through the air. 15 carries for 75 yards, 2 touchdowns. Looked like Sony Michel also played and had a touchdown off of 10 carries. But I think the story on this game was Cam Newton starting, coming back, beating up on the Dolphins, and then also at the end of the game, after the game, his necklace or his chain getting snatched. Unfortunately, it's so disrespectful to snatch somebody's chain, and it was just it was a bad situation. That shouldn't have happened. But, these guys, usually when you have bad blood, it stays within the time of the game. So once it hits all zeros, once it's goose eggs all on the clock, usually all that stuff is to go away unless, if something personal has been said. Even for the most part, you might shrug it off, but clearly something has boiled over to past the game, and they ended up snatching his chain. He was very, obviously, rightfully so, he was pissed off because, I had his kids' names and birthdays on there, I believe. So he took that to the maximum respect or disrespect, and, rightfully so, because, it meant a lot to him. So Cam Newton, again, started off great. I believe they will have a tough matchup this week going to Seattle. So we'll see what Cam Newton's really made of versus Seattle, but still a very impressive win because the Dolphins tend to give the Patriots a tough run, as divisional opponents. It's usually the Dolphins that give the Patriots some trouble. The next game I'm going to be talking about, staying in the AFC South. Well, not staying in the AFC South, but going back to the AFC South. The Indianapolis Colts embarrassed themselves, losing to the Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville. I'm assuming a lot of people in those pick'em leagues are out now because they picked the Indianapolis Colts. It is what it is, man. This is what happens in week 1. There are no sure things in week 1. So, for all you that pick the Colts over the Jacksonville Jaguars, I feel your pain, but it just is what it is. I mean, it's completely embarrassing. Phillip Rivers, 2 interceptions. I mean, come on, man. This is, I expected more from this team. I thought that obviously they're young when it comes to their skill position players. I believe Marlon Mack is out for some time. He got injured, but I thought that they had enough, players in place to make some noise. But Phillip Rivers, Indianapolis Colts, Frank Wright, I think Phillip Rivers is starting to be on the decline. Some of you may think that he's been on the decline, but I think he's officially starting to hit that decline. So Phillip Rivers, get yourself together. You can't be losing to Jacksonville. Frank Wright, you can't be losing to Jacksonville, especially when they're giving away all their talent for free. Something needs to change there. You can't continue to lose to them. That's embarrassing. Jacksonville should have the number 1 overall pick this year. And it's possible that the Colts, this win could be Jacksonville's only win this whole season. Or they might be 2, because they're going to play the Colts again and might get another dub. So Colts better make sure that does not happen, because, again, that would be big embarrassing for the Colts. Next game, Chicago Bears versus Detroit Lions. I'm going to go straight to the end. I mean, Trubisky started, solid game, 20 of 36, 242, 3 touchdowns. That's a solid game for Mitch Trubisky, if you ask me. No turnovers for Mitch Trubisky. Matthew Stafford actually had the turnover. But Adrian Peterson doing what Adrian Peterson does, 14 carries, 93 yards, 0 touchdowns. But the story of the game is DAndre Swift. DAndre Swift, rookie running back out of Georgia, second-round pick for the Detroit Lions. Had a touchdown in the game. 3 carries, 8 yards, 1 touchdown. Solid. All right, we'll give him that. A solid. But he is going to be remembered for the wrong reason because people are going to blame him as the reason why the Detroit Lions lost the game. And honestly, I cannot fault them for that. Matthew Stafford with, less than 20 seconds left threw an absolute dime to DAndre Swift, hit him right in his hands. It wasn't an over-the-shoulder catch. It was one of those catches where, you're facing the quarterback and, you're going backwards. It goes right through his hands. He's standing in the end zone. It would have been an easy touchdown, and they would have won the game. But he dropped it, and I believe that was third down, and then on fourth down, they just weren't able to get back into it. I think that was their opportunity, and unfortunately, DAndre Swift, I feel for him, but you got to catch that, man. You got to catch that, especially if you're going to continue to progress and better yourself. Hit that jug machine. You can't be dropping those types of passes. There's so much pressure on the teams to win games. This is not good, especially in division. So now not only are you 0-1, you're 0-1 in the division. DAndre Swift will bounce back for sure. I love his game. So tough loss for the Lions. Speaking of tough losses, the Cleveland Browns still suck. Everyone. They got absolutely mollywopped by the Baltimore Ravens, 38-6. I did not anticipate this. In the slightest. I was trying to be quiet about the Browns. I thought that they were going to have a quietly solid season. Quiet as in like they would be contending for the playoffs. I didn't anticipate them to win this game, but I thought it would be closer. I know they beat Baltimore last year, but I mean, to get beat up like this is a drumming. This is not good for the Cleveland Browns. It's not a good start. I'm sure they'll win some games this year, but now it's starting to look like Baker Mayfield is not that guy. It's starting to look like that. He has everything he needs to be a good quarterback. Several offensive coordinators, several head coaches. Baker Mayfield, I mean, they still look horrible on offense. They look terrible. On offense. I mean, defensively, you really can't blame them defensively. Lamar Jackson is just that good. But Baker Mayfield, 21-39, 189 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Those are not good numbers when you have Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham, David Njoku. You signed Austin Hooper. You got Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb coming out the backfield. I mean, these guys, you have all the weapons you need to be a good quarterback in the NFL. You cannot be putting up 6 points. The Ravens are not – this is not the 2002 Ravens defense we're talking about here, or the 2000 Ravens defense. I believe it was 2002. When did they win the Super Bowl? 2000? 2002? One of those years. Whatever. You know what year I'm talking about. When the Ravens won the Super Bowl with Trent Dilfer at quarterback, they had one of the best defenses ever. This is not that Ravens team. That's not their defense. The Ravens defense is solid, but they're not like that. They're not shut down, right? So to score 6 points against the Ravens is embarrassing. Baker Mayfield needs to pick it up immediately, because I think now his time is starting to run out, because you got all these antics, you're talking all this mess to commentators that are criticizing you, rightfully so. Now, as we see, you need to start putting up, you need to start putting some numbers. This is not good. So Cleveland still sucks. They will be in the top 10 if Baker Mayfield continues to play like this. Baker Mayfield needs to come up, because he's been talking a lot. I hear a lot of talking for Baker Mayfield, but I'm not seeing a lot of good play. So Baker Mayfield is the number one guy that I'm going to be talking about there. Lamar Jackson, let's just give you his number. So 20-25, that's Lamar Jackson type stuff. 275, 3 touchdowns to the air, seven carries, 45 yards. I mean, it's Lamar Jackson. League MVP last year. Looks like he's picking up where he left off. So Lamar Jackson doing work against the solid Browns defense. And, Baltimore is going to be up there. They're going to be competing to go to the Super Bowl this year from the AFC, and I honestly would not be surprised if they beat the Chiefs to do that. So I'll keep an eye out on them. Another team that I wanted to win was the Cincinnati Bengals. For those of you that have been watching my podcast, last week on the Hail Mary segment, I talked about Joe Burrow's about to lead the Cincinnati Bengals to win this game versus the LA Chargers. Sorry, I think I said San Diego earlier, but the LA Chargers, they ended up losing. They should have won, but it was a penalty called on offensive pass interference, which was a touchdown pass that Joe Burrow threw, and obviously that crippled them, and they were never able to recover. So they ended up losing to the LA Chargers 16-13 at home. I was almost right, but I'm still right. Joe Burrow looked fairly solid for his first debut with a really bad team. Happy to see AJ Green back out there. He ended the game with 5 receptions, 51 yards. So again, I'm very interested in seeing how Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals progress throughout the season. I don't anticipate them to compete for the division. I just want to see how they progress. Another upset that I wanted to talk about. So this one was actually pretty shocking. So the Arizona Cardinals went ahead and went into San Francisco Levi Stadium and went ahead and beat the NFC representative in the Super Bowl last year, San Francisco 49ers, with Jimmy G. Kyler Murray had a solid game, did enough to actually win the game. Excellent on the ground. So he ended up in the air 26 of 40, 230, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. On the ground, 13 carries, 91 yards, 1 touchdown. For those of you that missed that touchdown run by Kyler Murray, that one was pretty solid. So I would recommend that you go back and check that out. DeAndre Hopkins, 16 targets, man. So he had 14 receptions, 151 yards. I mean, and the win. So DeAndre Hopkins is living life right now. He's getting paid. He's getting a whole bunch of targets and a whole bunch of yards. So DeAndre Hopkins is happy. Cardinals start off the season very good with the win over the division champion, or at least the former division champion, 49ers. Again, went to the Super Bowl last year. They went ahead and beat them on the road. So a big win for the Cardinals. I'm happy to see them do their thing. Jimmy Garoppolo needs to pick it up, or else he did have, if you look at his box score, you would think he had a solid game. 19 of 33, 259, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. But those are all, he could have did more. Jimmy Garoppolo could have did more. He missed a ton of passes that could have changed the complexion of the game, but he did not. Jimmy Garoppolo, man, I don't know. I think after this year, they got to start looking at the quarterback position, even though they gave him a big contract. Jimmy Garoppolo does not look like the franchise quarterback that the San Francisco 49ers need to win a Super Bowl. If they had a competent quarterback last year, they win a Super Bowl. He missed a throw. So let's keep that a buck. Next, I got 3 more games. I know I'm getting close. We're already hitting the hour mark, so this podcast is probably going to be 1:30. But Tampa Bay Buccaneers going to New Orleans in NOLA. Go ahead, getting beat for Tom Brady's debut with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They looked very good on the first drive, the touchdown drive. Tom Brady marched them down the field. No pun intended. They marched them down the field and scored a touchdown on a quarterback sneak. After that, it was kind of downhill from there. Tom Brady didn't have the best game, but also didn't. I mean, it was bad in Tom Brady's, for Tom Brady's standards. Threw 2 interceptions. One of them was a pick six. That was a really bad interception. Threw it on an out route. He threw it late inside. It got picked off by Jack Rabbit for a pick six. The other one looked like a miscommunication between him and Mike Evans. That one, Mike Evans stopped on the route. Again, a miscommunication between both of them. We'll never know who was wrong. Usually you side with the quarterback in those situations, especially Tom Brady. But Mike Evans pulled up on his route, and it got picked off by the safety. So Tom Brady ended up with 2 interceptions. The Saints look good, man. The jury's still out on how good the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will be. I wasn't completely sold on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when Tom Brady went over there. They looked like they were going. When they scored that first touchdown, that opening drive, I was like, okay, maybe Tampa Bay might be solid. They still might be, but the Saints just look like they're going to be that team. They will definitely be competing in the NFC. I just don't like the Saints. They beat the Eagles every time. Every friggin' time, man. I'm not a big fan of the Saints. Alvin Kamara did his thing as always. 2 touchdowns, one on the ground, one rushing touchdown, 1 receiving touchdown. So the Saints look like they're going to be competing again this year. We'll see if they embarrass themselves in the playoffs this year. We'll see about that. Sunday night game, Cowboys, LA Rams. This one, I'm not, it is what it is. I was going for LA. I'm never going to be going for the Cowboys. Dak Prescott just didn't make enough plays that the Cowboys needed to win this game. Everyone has been talking about this game as to why the Cowboys lost because of the offensive pass interference on Michael Gallup to Jalen Ramsey. That is not why they lost. And to be honest, that was the right call. I actually seen the push off in real time. I didn't even need to see the damn replay in slow motion. I seen it in real time. As soon as he did it, I was like, oh, that's PI. Because I seen his arm extended. If you look at the angle initially, when you're just watching the game, you can see it clear as day. The other angle where they kept showing in slow motion where, the camera's in front of Michael Gallup, that's not going to show you, the best angle. You got to do that side one where you can see his arm is already extended. He kind of like pushed back. Jalen Ramsey obviously did sell it a little bit more than what it was, but, I thought it was the right call. And again, I could be biased, but it was to me, it was the right call. I'm making that call 10 out of 10 times. The Cowboys lost. You're 0-1. And that's just what it is. And then lastly, I am going to be talking about the Tennessee Titans versus the Denver Broncos. I anticipated the Denver Broncos winning this one. They were 18-2 in their last 20 home openers. So I was anticipating them to win this game. They ended up losing, and honestly, they had every opportunity to win this game. Gronkowski, the kicker for the Tennessee Titans, missed 4 field goals. Was it 4? It was bad, man. It was bad. Let me pull this up. Okay, he missed 3. And the last one that really counted to win the game, he got it. So he was 1 for 4, but he missed 3 and missed the extra point. I mean, Gronkowski, I'm surprised. And maybe let me actually Google this right now. I thought he was going to be cut immediately. So why Gronkowski was not wearing a sock during game winning? He wants to blame the sock. He did redeem himself. He missed 3 field goals. These were crucial. For Tennessee Titans, a team that's going to pound the rock and play defense, you need a good kicker. Because every close game, most of the times, most of the times when it's a close game, it's going to come down to the kicker. And you need a good kicker if you're going to win close games. Steven Gronkowski he cannot be doing that. Because honestly, he's lucky he has a job after missing three field goals like that. And they were one of them was tipped, 2 of them were just flat out misses, and I believe the extra point was just a flat out miss as well. So he needs to clean that up. I think one more game like that, and he's gone at halftime. It is what it is. But Tennessee Titans got a good win over, I thought, an up-and-coming Denver Broncos team. Jerry Jeudy, come on, man. You cannot be dropping the ball like that. Route running was on point. He slipped on his first route that he caught. That one was he lost his foot in there. But Jerry Jeudy's route running, we all know what his route running is. The dude is already one of the best route runners in the NFL. Route running is on point, but it doesn't mean anything if you can't catch the ball. So he had a few concentration drops, and this was one of the concerns in camp, that he had some bad drops as far as like catchable passes, and he's just not catching them. He's already thinking about how he's going to move upfield. Jerry Jeudy needs to look the ball in, and he will be a great receiver. I already see it already. Him and Drew Lock are going to be magic, especially when Courtland Sutton comes back. I think Jerry Jeudy has that opportunity to be a very good receiver in the NFL. So he just needs to clean up those drops, because you can't have those type of drops and be, a good receiver. That's just not going to happen. A few of them on third down. So clean that up, Jerry Jeudy. Thanks for stopping by. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button for more fire sports takes. And for those of you who are on the go, make sure you subscribe to our full show, which airs every Thursday on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and a bunch more. Until then, I'm chucking it up, and I'll see you guys next time.